There is, I think, a weird rule that you learn early in life. In exams, if you don't know the answer, you guess. In work, if you don't know the answer, you say, I don't know. One of those behaviors gets rewarded, and the other likely gets you in trouble. And that difference turns out to matter more than we think, because large language models are built like an exam and not like real life. Think about it. When you're sitting an exam, you're incentivized to fill in every answer, even if you have no idea, because leaving it blank gets you nothing and guessing gives you a chance. So you hedge, you pattern match, you pick up what looks right, and sometimes you're going to get away with it. Now, take that same behavior into a workplace. If you don't know how a system works, you just start clicking things. You guess, you make assumptions, and you push something live that probably should never have gone live in the first place. And that doesn't end well. In most environments, the correct answer is really simple. I don't know. Nothing wrong with that. That's what gets you help. That's what builds trust. And that's arguably what moves things forward. Now, here's the problem. AI doesn't work like that at all. It cannot work like that because from the very beginning, it's been trained in a system that rewards answering, not abstaining. It's optimized to respond, not to pause, not to reflect, not to say, I'm not sure. So, what does it do? It does what you did in the exam. It guesses, and it does that at scale and in perfect English. So we kind of trust it. But we can call this a hallucination, which is what we arguably do at the moment, which makes it sound like a rare glitch. But it's not. It's actually structural, and it comes from how these systems are trained, how they're tested, and realistically, how they're deployed. They are rewarded for producing something that looks like an answer, not for being right. And I think this is where it gets uncomfortable. This is fixable. Technically, this is absolutely fixable. You could build a model that says, I don't know. And it could do that more often. You could attach confidence scores to its answers, and you could design systems that behave more like a competent human. But if you did that, you would have to break the product because people aren't using these tools as reference systems. They're using them as thinking systems, as advice, as decisions, as learning, as planning. Sometimes for people that I know, they're using them for emotional support. That's outsourcing a part of their thinking. And if the system turns around and says, I don't know, let's say a third of the time, most people aren't going to lean in and think harder. They're going to leave. They go and find something that sounds more certain. Even if it's wrong more often, they'll go off and do that. And that creates a market problem, not a technical problem, a market problem. The first company that makes their model more honest, what happens to them? Well, they lose. They are the losers. They lose engagement, they lose momentum, and they lose it to competitors that are just more confident, more fluent, and more willing to just give an answer. So this entire system locks in confidence over accuracy every single time. Now, if we zoom out, and at the same time we're being told that AI will replace jobs, that it will 10x productivity, that one person will do the work of 10, and yet, when you look at what's actually happening in the workplace, I'm sure we've all felt it, we've all seen it, it doesn't look like that. There are studies where experienced developers are given real tasks on real code bases with AI or without AI. And in some cases, they are slower with the AI tool, not faster, slower. That should be pretty shocking to all of us, but I think we probably all feel this and maybe know this at some level. So where is this productivity going? It's not disappearing, it's shifting. Instead of writing everything from scratch, you're reviewing, you're editing, you're fixing, you're probably untangling all of these things that you've been given, and it's all machine generated output. The work is not going away, it's just moving. And it tends to move towards the people who actually know what they are doing. So instead of replacing developers, you're creating a second layer of work, a cleanup layer, if you like, a judgment layer, a quality control layer that we didn't have before, which is really interesting because that's exactly the kind of work these systems struggle with. Then there's the final kind of sleight of hand. When people say AI is going to replace your job, they're not talking about what exists today. They're talking about AGI, artificial general intelligence. And what do we know about AGI? Well, it's a system that can think, it can adapt, it can understand context. The system that we're talking about here simply does not exist. So we end up in this strange position. The thing that could replace your job is actually theoretical. The thing that exists cannot reliably replace your job right now. And the systems that you're using every single day are optimized to sound certain, not to be correct. Because if they were honest about uncertainty, you'd probably stop using them, let's face it. And that's the real tension that's going on here. This isn't a story about AI being too powerful, I don't think. It's almost the opposite. It's about a technology that is just useful enough, just convincing enough, and structurally incentivized to be confidently wrong at times. And a market that is rewarding it for exactly that behavior is what's created this. So I think here's the uncomfortable reality. We've built systems that sound like they know what they're talking about in a world that increasingly doesn't question the answer that they're giving. And then we're surprised when things go wrong. AI is not actually replacing human thinking. It's, in a lot of cases, replacing the appearance of thinking. And I think that's probably more dangerous. So yes, please do use these tools. Experiment with them, but don't trust them implicitly. And definitely don't let them do your thinking for you. They're not designed to be right. They're designed to be convincing. And this is the kind of thing that I'm going to keep digging into. I think these are really, really great topics to talk about, not just AI, but anything where the story and reality don't quite line up, or the hidden history behind it is somewhat different to what we might have thought. That might be technology, watches, cars, same lens, different domains. So if you like that kind of thinking, subscribe, stick around, and I will probably see you in the next one.